Okay, all eyes on the screen. So today we have a very special guest who is going to take you through an entire amazing workshop and process throughout the day. And so as we enter into our kind of end of 2020 and we're heading into 2021 to prepare for our final projects, you will get a chance to meet tons of really cool, amazing designers and creators in the space so that you can be inspired and learn new things and then present your final project all the way in July. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Miss Diana Yanes, who is an awesome, awesome creator, designer, consultant, and she's going to tell you all about who she is. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like you to unmute yourselves and give her a nice round of applause. Diana, you can take it away.
This is so exciting. Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much for the invitation. Hello, guys. Can you hear me well? Yes? Okay, perfect. Well, first of all, thank you very much. I'm extremely excited for being here. This is my first time speaking to so many kids at the same time, so I'm extremely excited. As Mike said, I am a designer, and to be more precise, I am a shoe designer. So Mike, can I share my screen? Yes, perfect. Please let me know. Do you see my presentation? Yes. Great. So I am a shoe designer, okay? And I'm going to go through what I do right now, but first of all, I would like to read you this quote from Arthur Schopenhauer, which says, "Every man takes the limit of his own field of vision for that limits its own world." Okay, so the most important thing in here is, and what I always want to transmit is that our imagination is limitless, and we have to get the most out of it, okay? There's no right or wrong ideas, there's just ideas, and we transform them into tangible things, okay? And that's the beauty about creativity, okay? Just to go a bit through who I am. So I am Diana. I come from Venezuela, from Caracas, Venezuela. So I'm from South America. I am currently living in Milan, in Italy. So we're very nearby, and hopefully one day I'll be able to come visit you in person. I studied fashion design at Istituto Marangoni. So this school you see over here, it's a really good school for fashion. There's always also one in London. I started working since right away in footwear. Though I studied fashion, so garments, I actually always wanted to do shoes. And I was very lucky to have my first job at a footwear department. So I started designing for a brand called Oscar de la Renta, and they are based in New York. And
Dominican brand.
It's, well, sorry, it's an American brand, but the designer is Latin American. so I'm taking part of the credits. And then I moved to Alexander Wang, also an American brand from a Chinese. So very much American style, let's say. So Americans, it's like everyone. It's the country that received everyone. So after a few years in New York, I moved to Shanghai in China, where I was working for Bovillon. I was in charge of creating a department for the designing of footwear and handbags. Then I made my own footwear brand, Aletheia, which I had for almost 4 years. And I don't know if some of you know Harvey Nichols. We were selling there in Harvey Nichols in London. We actually had 19 multi-brand stores around the world. And when I was doing my brand, I started doing consulting. For those who doesn't know, a consultant is someone that has the ability to help people, but in a very simple way. from my consulting is designing and production and sourcing materials, you know, so it's everything regarding the creative part of footwear. These are some of my clients and collaborators. So I've worked for brands, or I still work for brands such as Philip Line, Santoni, Hogan. I don't know if you know any of those. Cool brands. All
I've
brands
done
are
an
cool.
I've done an event for Philip Line. He's a multi-billionaire
Oh
who
yeah.
has
Yeah.
his own clothing line. So we got to do a holiday party for him last year
Oh,
with
nice.
one of my brands, and he is a very nice office space and
Yeah.
very cool sneakers that have diamond studs all over them.
Yeah. You went to Lugano. You went
I
to
went to
his
the
offices.
office in Manhattan on 57th Street across from the Apple,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Central Park.
Okay. Cool. Well, I haven't been in the New York one. I've been in Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
But well, this is more or less what I do. And to show you a bit more about my company. So basically we offer design services, okay? And then we're going through the design process to explain you a bit better how it works. Then we do sourcing of materials. We do production. We have 4 affiliated factories in Italy where we can produce from sneakers, boots, men's shoes, women's shoes, depending on what the client is looking for. We have our main topic is sustainability. I've been working in sustainability for the past 7 years. Sustainability is a bit of everything in the sense that it's not just environmental. I actually started working with the social part. I have a project in jail where I teach detainees to stitch, and we give them job positions. So we have over 100 detainees where we that we employed, and we work with brands. And now we're actually working on bringing this same project to the slums in Venezuela to teach young mothers and give them job opportunities. And then I also work in the environmental part of sustainability. So that's a bit more complicated because you have to see certifications, you have to look for different materials, you have to look for production processes. So it's very interesting, a bit more complex, let's say, than the social part because it's more technical. And then we do workshops. At the moment, we have the brand project. So maybe one day, many of you will be one of our attendees. It's for people willing to have their own brands or their own companies. So we help them establishing everything. So from the business plan to communication strategy to a sales strategy. And this is more for people like me, so creatives that we didn't do an MBA or we didn't study economics or anything. So it's we don't like numbers, and we don't like that much of a structure. So, but we need it because it's important. So people like me, more creative, this is what we need. So something very easy, very simple, just to kick off our own brands or companies. Okay. And to go a bit more into depth about the design process, so you understand what I do as a designer. The first thing I do is I do trend research. Okay, this is a mood board from the fall winter 19. So I identify a bit traveling, going to trade shows, going to like just being in the streets and observing. I identify the new trends. Okay, so well, now with COVID, we know that more comfortable garments are going to be on trend because nobody wants to wear jeans anymore because they're too uncomfortable, and we got super used to our sweatpants. No, so that kind of things are part of the trends. Okay, so first thing is that I identify trends, and these trends are very they need to go directly, they need to be linked directly to the client. Okay, so the DNA of a brand is the main reason why we find why we use one trend or the other. Okay, I don't know if this concept is clear or not, but it's, let's say that a brand like, I don't know, Topshop let's say, which is, I mean, it's a mass market, but let's say that Topshop doesn't have the same concept as Bershka. Okay, I don't know if you know those brands, but just to understand. So basically for Bershka, we do a trend research, and for Topshop, we do another trend research. Okay. Then once I do my trend research, I establish the concept of the collection. This is a collection from always fall winter 19. I decided to do this one because I had already like the entire process, so you could see from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. So I always like writing, and I always write a text for my collection where I explain the consumer, the client, where do I want to go. In this case, it was a collection of like inspired a bit in extreme sports and a very dynamic lifestyle, and a bit of militar, a person a bit like irreverent. So this was the concept of the collection that came out from the trends I identified for this specific collection. Okay. Then I select colors and materials. I go to a lot of trade shows, and in here, like what we get from trade shows are a lot of folders like this, where we have the materials and we have the color variations. So in here, I'm actually coordinating a new collection. So I have many of these folders. And so basically I just like open them and start deciding which materials depict the concept of the collection I established. No? So in this case, this one. Once I establish colors and materials, I start sketching. We always sketch once we know more or less the materials we want, because it's not the same. Like for example, this jacket has, you know, it's a bit like fluffy, no? So if I find a really rigid material that I like, but it doesn't suit the how it like the design, then it's not possible to make it, no? So the first thing is materials and colors, and then I start sketching once I know the materials I'm going to use. And then I coordinate the collection. This collection was 600 pieces, so I'm just showing you a few of them. I do very basic designs because it's just for us to understand. We go on prototypes and we finally get our samples. So this is, for example, this is this one. Okay, so to us it's more like understanding how it's more or less going to look. Also to understand, like, there's a lot of orange, maybe we should take a bit out of orange, and you know what, actually the gray, light gray is going to sell better because we've been selling it for the past 3 seasons and they're still asking for it. So we take out some, like, part of the orange and we put it with like, we replace it for light gray. Or for example, we can even say something more strategic. Maybe we say, you know what, we actually have a lot of leftovers from past collections and they're orange. So we need to sell orange in order to use the material we have in-house. So we say, okay, what are the, like, which are the colors that we've been selling the most in the past seasons? And maybe if it's blue, green, and light gray, then we match, like, we try to mix those best sellers with the orange. So we can use the orange and people start like looking at the orange and liking the orange. So this is more or less how it goes, the process. And I don't know if up to now you have questions. And if you do, I would love to answer to them, because then I would just like to actually start with a creative activity. So if anyone has questions until now, please.
So you can unmute yourselves, or you can, educators, you could type it in the chat, and then we can go through the question and answer process through the chat. Before
I really like these sneakers. These are cool. They're beautiful.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you. Well, they're not available anymore, but we can redesign them.
Oh, okay. I also am interested in your consultation. because I have people always asking me if I know people that consult in the sneaker space. So now I do. Yeah,
Now you
that's
do.
awesome.
So do we have any questions from 6W, 6Y, or 6C? Or should we just, or are you so excited that you want to jump into the design project? Let me see magic fingers if you're ready to do some designing. I see what's going on here. Okay, you can continue, Diana.
Perfect. So in here, living in creativity. Okay, so as I said at the beginning, you know, creativity is a bit of like, to me, is like my motto. Okay. In fact, during quarantine, the first lockdown that lasted for 3 months in Italy, every day I would post an inspiration and I would design something. The workload was very, very low because companies were not investing that much because they needed to understand what was going on. So I decided just to design all day long. Okay. And that's my life. I also did furniture. I did candles. I did a bit of everything. I had 2 broken beds and I decided to do furniture, which I didn't know before quarantine, and now I do. And so in here, it's like my thought about creativity. So it's life is not just about work. And the beauty of any creative job is that it adds up to our ordinary life. Living in creativity allows us to see life from a different perspective, solve problems in a different way, and release stress by using our hands to give life to objects that used to live inside our heads. Okay, so this is the beauty of creativity. And even though we are not the best designers or the best at like using our hands and making something, creativity is for anything, you know, like even, yeah, solving problems, you know. Sometimes we're so stressed and we're like, oh no, but you know, I actually don't have this specific material I need to solve this problem. And it's like, well, I don't have this, but I could actually have this, no? So that's the beauty about it. And today it's an invitation on living it a bit more. And I want us to work with colors today. I prepared a mood board inspired in Gen Z. This is actually a mood board for one of the collections I designed this year. And basically, Gen Z is, let's say, this new generation that is more open-minded after millennials, and they're all about flowing, I would say, okay? Much more open-minded, much more inclusive, and that's what we want. We want a more inclusive world. We want a world where we can all fit and we all belong and we're all different, but we're still one. We're still one thing. Okay. So for this specific subject, which is more about colors, okay, I would like you. I don't know if you managed to print this. They print it out. So you all have these sneakers, and I would love you to feel free. Perfect. I want you to feel free to color them as you want. And if you want to modify anything, if you want lines to be wider, if you want lines, if you want to write something, if you want to have your favorite cartoon on top of it, feel free to do it, okay? Creativity and brainstorming is amazing because we can do anything, you know? My math teacher, I was not good at math, and my math teacher would always tell me, Diana, the paper can handle anything, you know, just write it down, try it, and the worst that can happen is that you get a wrong result. So in here and in creativity, there's nothing right or wrong. So it's even better because we're never wrong. We're always right. For those who always like being right, you're always right. And for those who would like to submit their designs, I would be super happy to post them on our Instagram to show people what you guys are working on, and well, maybe we'll inspire some upcoming designers or current designers. I'm going back in here so you can check out the colors and get some Billie Eilish style.
Okay, one clap, if you can hear me. One clap. One clap. Two claps. I still see some pencils in the hand. They're not clapping. Three claps. Three claps. Okay, we're gonna turn it over to Diana, and she's going to show you her colorway, and then we're going to say goodbye for the day, all right? So Diana, you can take it away.
Okay, so actually I am going to show you, we prepared a mini video on this shoe, on this specific shoe for the Instagram. So I'm going to play it and you're going to see the colors as they appear, okay? This was our shoe. Yeah, this is, I'll show you the shoe.
Much better than the color I would have came up with. This is awesome.
This is the shoe.
I love it. I love the texture.
Awesome design. Thank you so much. So everyone, can you unmute and give a round of applause to Miss Diana, especially as your first speaker and visitor. You know, I think it's going to be really, really hard for other speakers and visitors to follow this. So here's the thing, okay? We want you to finish your coloring of this specific shoe. I've already received some designs already, right? That are kind of in tow.
Nice.
Right? That are currently being worked on. And I think they're looking awesome. I really love how there's an addition. Someone added an addition to the shoe, which is amazing, right?
Beautiful, guys.
If we look here, we can see that there's a city. And from the logo, I kind of already know whose brand this is. And this is where brands become so important. This is really, really awesome. So
nice, guys.
We can't wait to see the finished, right? Someone decided they wanted to hand sketch themselves, which is awesome. I love the waves. I love, right? So there's so much that you can do. And I'm very, very proud of the work that you're doing and that you're putting out. And I can't wait to see when all of these are done, because we're going to send them to Diana and she's going to share them on her Instagram, and tons of designers and all of these amazing brand people that she just mentioned probably will see and be like, who did that? And it's going to be like, a kid from the Barham School did that. And they were awesome. All right. So
exactly.
Unfortunately,
we're going to follow you, your Instagram.
My Instagram is, should I write it down?
Yeah, you can type it into the chat.
Yeah. So my personal Instagram is Diana Carolina James, which is where I post a bit more about sustainability and the social impact and the creativity, resilience, design. And work-wise, it's a bit more technical, so maybe kids are not going to enjoy that much. It's this one, Diana James _consulting, which, Mike, I really appreciate you say Yanis, so you said it right. I always say James because if not, people don't understand, but very, very good job. You've been practicing.
No, well, we'll talk about that later. I've spent a lot of time talking about that, so.
Say the truth. You had to practice a lot. Diana Yanis, Diana Yanis, Diana Yanis.
So here's what we're gonna do, guys. I want you to unmute. I want you to say goodbye to Miss Yanis.
Thank you.
And we will see you next week. All right. Keep drawing. Finish those products.
Thank you. Thank you. Really, really looking forward to receiving your designs.
Yes.